In this video, we are going to see how to configure internet on the HG323RGW ONU. First, in order to log into an ONU, we need to connect the ONU that we want to configure to our computer or laptop. We can connect it either through a LAN cable or via Wi-Fi. After connecting, to ensure that the connection is proper and to configure the adapter settings, go to the computer's adapter settings. For that, press the Windows key and the letter R on your keyboard at the same time. In the Run window, type ncpa.cpl and click OK. This is simply a shortcut to open network connections or adapter settings. Here, check which Ethernet connection is active. If the ONU is properly connected to your computer through the LAN cable, you will see an Ethernet option without any crossmark. If the ONU is not properly connected, or if there is an issue with the LAN cable or the RJ45 jack is not properly inserted, you will see a red crossmark. Now, double-click on the active Ethernet. Then go to Properties, and in Properties, double-click on Internet Protocol version 4, IPv4. In most computers, it will be set to obtain an IP address automatically. Change this to use the following IP address and assign an IP address from the same range as the ONU. The default IP address of the ONU is 192.168.1.1. So you can assign any IP except 192.168.1.1. After that, click on Subnet Mask and it will automatically populate. Since I have already set the IP, I am not changing it now. Then click OK, again click OK and close the window. Next, open any web browser. In the address bar, enter the default IP of the ONU, which is 192.168.1.1. The login page will appear. Here, if it is a fresh ONU and the default password has not been changed, you need to use the default password stdonu101 to log in. After logging in, it will prompt you to change the default password. Set a new password of your choice and then proceed. In this case, I have already logged in and changed the default password. So I enter the username, password and verification code to log in. After logging in, we can access the web interface. To configure the internet, go to the Network option next to Status. Click on Network. Under Network, select Internet. You will see several sub-options like binding, LAN IP address, WLAN, remote, LOID configuration, etc. By default, the WAN configuration page is displayed. In most ONS, when you log in for the first time, you will see a default TR069 configuration. You can either delete it or keep it and create a new configuration by clicking Add New WAN Connection. Here, I am deleting the old configuration. Scroll down and click the Delete button. Click only once and wait for a few seconds. If you keep clicking repeatedly, it may appear as if the system is hanging. Now the default configuration is deleted and no other configuration is present in this ONU. So, we will proceed to configure the internet. Before configuring the internet, ensure that this ONU is properly bound to the OLT. Also confirm that the VLAN you are going to configure is already created in the OLT and assigned to the uplink port and PON port. If it is a GPON OLT, ensure that all line profiles and configurations are completed. Only then will the status become up after configuration. You can verify this under status arrow WAN connection, info arrow PON information. Here, you can check whether the ONU is registered and authenticated with the OLT. Now click on Add New WAN Connection. The mode will be set to Bridge by default. Change it to Root. The IP protocol will be set to IPv4/IPv6 by default. But usually we select IPv4 for internet configuration. Next are the authentication methods. There are three methods. First is DHCP. If you select DHCP, all configurations like IP address, subnet mask, and authentication will be automatically assigned by the ISP. Second is static. If your ISP has provided you with an IP address, subnet mask, gateway, and DNS, then select static and enter those details. Third is PPPoE. If your ISP has provided a username and password, you need to select PPPoE. In this case, I am using a BSNL connection and they have provided a VLAN ID of 105 and a username. So I select PPPoE. Next is Enable NAT, which is enabled by default. This must be enabled to access the internet as it converts private IP addresses to public IP addresses. Then comes VLAN. This is optional. Enable it only if your ISP has provided a VLAN ID. Some ONTs can be configured without VLAN depending on the ISP. In this case, my VLAN is 105, so I enter it. Next is 802.1p, which is related to VLAN tagging priority. By default, you can leave it as null. Then comes MTU, maximum transmission unit, which is set to 1492 by default in route mode. You only need to change it if your ISP provides a specific MTU value. Now, enter the username. The service name is optional. Only enter it if provided by your ISP. Do not enter random names like Internet or BSNL. It may cause the connection status to show as down. Set the service mode to Internet. Next is turn off LAN DHCP. Do not enable this option. If DHCP is turned off, you will need to manually assign IP addresses to devices connected via LAN. Then comes port binding. Bind the required ports such as LAN 1, LAN 2, and Wi-Fi SSID. After that, click Save and Apply. Click only once and wait for a few seconds for the page to refresh. Now the internet configuration is saved. To check the status, go to Status arrow 1 connection. Here you can see whether the status is up. Here you can see whether the status is up. To verify internet connectivity, go to Diagnostics and perform a ping test to Google DNS 8.8.8.8. If the ping is successful and packet loss is 0%, the internet is working properly. Now, you can connect via Wi-Fi or LAN and perform a speed test by searching speed test on Google. That's all for internet configuration. Always ensure that you enter only the details provided by your ISP. Do not enter any information that is not given by the ISP. For example, if I manually enter a service name like Internet without it being provided by the ISP and click Save and Apply, the connection status will show as down. So always remember, only enter ISP provided details. Finally, check the status to confirm whether it is up or down. If the status is not up, check whether the username and password are correct, whether all ISP details are entered correctly, and whether the ONU is registered in the OLT with proper VLAN configuration. Only if all OLT configurations are complete will the connection status become up. That's all covered in this video.